Hello, beautiful souls. So I am bringing on a dear sister, Tally, today for this Instagram Live and podcast, if you're listening on there. And we are going to talk about, oh, there she is. We are going to talk about, okay, I just accepted it. Just bear with us. Oh, here you go. Yay! Welcome, welcome, welcome. So I was just introducing you. This is my dear sister, Tally, and we are talking today about manifesting miracles. She came to my retreat last year, and we have a story to tell about how she manifested the funds, which is super fun, and then what happened after at the retreat, the shifts that happened there, and then after. She is completely just like glowing every time I see her. I'm like, keep flying, goddess. So welcome, Tally. Did you want to introduce yourself briefly?
Hi, everybody. I'm Tally, and I jumped at the chance to talk about Jill. I have so many good things to say about Jill. I wrote down a bunch of stuff because I was like, I want to remember everything.
Oh my God, I love
I just absolutely love Jill. And the number one thing that I love about Jill is you bring people to your presence. Even if it's on a phone call, you left a message on my phone last night, and you were talking about the live, but then you tricked off, started talking about your dog, and you brought me into that presence, and I'm there with your dog and talking to Opal and being like, oh, you're so cute, cuddled up on the couch. You just bring people to your presence, and I just love that about you.
Thank you so much. The feeling's mutual. I love you so much. Seriously, like so much. It has been such a joy seeing your journey, and like from, I mean, when we met and then you came to the sisterhood event and then the retreat and then you flew up to Calgary for an immersion, and just like you are the epitome of devotion to self, even when you presumed you didn't have the resources available, which we'll talk about shortly. And I've just seen you time and time again show up for yourself. You are one of the most beautiful women in supporting sisters. I have not seen, witnessed like any ill intent ever to any other person, human, and definitely not another woman. And that is so, it's so beautiful. And this is one of my intentions for like literally humanity, is sisters supporting sisters. And for those of you who are considering the retreat this year, it is just women. It is truly sisterhood. And all the women who have signed up so far are like some of the most exceptional women and energies. And I do apologize. That is my dog making his presence. He's very upset that he's not getting my full attention right now. He's everywhere a few times tonight. Opal, maybe he'll join. Let's do that. And you're all wet. Okay.
Opal. There's Opal.
There's Opal, soaking wet.
Hi, Opal.
So yeah.
And don't steal all my words, Jill, because I honestly, you vibrate abundance, and not just like financial abundance, but you vibrate like abundance in beauty and abundance in life and luxury. And I see your life and your first class ticket to Egypt, and you're doing energy work in Sedona, and you're here and you're there, and you're living the abundant life that I just look at and I'm like, wow. And it's, instead of like being in a place of like envy or jealousy, you demand everyone just meet you at this place where that doesn't even exist, and you share it. Like when I'm in your presence, I feel that beauty. I feel like I shine like you shine, and I feel abundant when I'm around you. Like the abundance overflows and spills into everyone around you. And that's what's so special about your retreats, and having that for a couple days is like powerful.
Thank you so much. I want to make everybody aware of something right now, because I've gotten a few messages the last few days, which I'll speak to in a moment. But like Egypt, we didn't have first class tickets. literally that was a manifestation that happened in real time. And I set the intention, I had a dream, and I couldn't tell the partner I was with at that time because I knew he would like doubt it. And so, you know, we literally had premium economy, and part of me like, I was like, should I just like buy the tickets? And then I was like, no. Anyways, there's a number of reasons. So like that manifestation, not only did they upgrade us to business class, but they upgraded us to first class. I thought they were the same thing, and I realized they're different on these international flights. And somebody messaged me, a past private client, the other day, and her wins are compounding like past the container, which is what I always hope for people, you know, not to just be reliant on me, but to understand these are universal codes. And, you know, they'll like come to whatever training or event that they feel called to, but never to feel like they need to rely on me to really empower them. And she said, I just thought anything you ever launched, like always just took off. And I'm like, no, the first time I launched Reiki, nobody signed up years ago. And then the second time I launched it, I had 6 people. I got actually asked to launch it. And so it's these initiations that like, we think we're so limited by, the resources that we look at a piece of paper or like a number on the internet, and that's not it. The amount of times that I have not had the resources, I still go through this. I went through this actually this summer. I went through a really deep transformation and healing, and I had invested a significant amount in a business coach, was relying on a launch I had to pause for longer than I thought. And then the launch was very slow at the beginning. And I'm like, it's going to be a 6-figure launch. And like, it was not. And like, I'm like, okay, like thinking like, how am I going to pay for my business? And then I'm like, I need to invest in this mentor on top of that coach. And then I found this other mentor that I'm like, no, I can't invest right now. I'll wait. And then it was like, oh no, he actually has a piece for you. And somehow the universe provided me the resources via like private clients coming to me for a specific niche of actually like womb work. And I don't really talk about this type of work barely ever, unless it's like somebody who's been in my world a while, because it's really deep stuff. But I won't get into it too deep on here, but for women who've basically had it removed, there's energetics that need to be called back. So yeah, won't get into the details on here because it's deeper stuff.
You did a phenomenal womb healing on me in one of your shamanic breath works, and that was at the resort or the retreat last year. And I honestly, like, I could feel you untwisting something in my stomach, in my intestines. I could feel it, but I also felt it in my womb, and I actually felt 10 pounds lighter. Like that stagnant energy that was transmuted, like it just, I felt lighter. And then I looked in the mirror and like I looked lighter. My stomach, I woke up the next morning and I was like, damn, my body, my stomach looks flat, it looks good. But like there's an energetic weight that leaves your body, and it happens physically as well.
100%. And let's talk about this, and then we'll talk about the money manifestation, how you manifest the money, how literally all these initiations that I go through all the time that people don't see behind the scenes, how I manifest the resources for things. Because I'm very like, it's a code of abundance to be fluid with your resources. And anyways, we'll talk about that after, but let's talk about this. So, and I totally forgot about this until you reminded me yesterday, and then I forgot right before the call. So yes, what happens is if we have trauma as women, and this can be a lineage trauma 7 generations before, it doesn't even need to happen to us. And everybody has trauma of some sort, but specifically like sexual trauma or a lot of shame or all of these things, what will happen often with the womb, and modern medicine will tell you that this cannot be healed, which is a lie. And I know this because I went through this, is the womb will like tilt back, and sometimes it'll even twist. So they will tell you, you can't do anything about it, blah, blah, blah. The reason this happens is that it's a protection mechanism. So back in the day in the shamanic lineages, the woman knew how to basically put the womb back in its natural blueprint, its natural presence. And thank you so much for the hearts, the love. And so, hi, Karina. Karina was there last year as well. all the reunions.
Hi,
So
everybody.
thanks for watching, guys, and popping on. And this will be saved for
Yeah.
those who are just popping on. It will be saved. So what happens is it's a trauma response. So that if a woman, say, gets pregnant and she's not in a relationship that she feels safe to have the baby in, or I mean, back in the day, a lot of women were raped, right? And so in the shamanic lineage, that once she was with a partner that was like, okay, they would move it back into place. We've lost this art. And modern medicine's like, oh no, you're just gonna have like miscarriages for the rest of your life, because when the womb is like that, what can happen is miscarriages. And so anyways, I saw that it was like yours was like twisted, which can manifest in gut issues. It can manifest in not having a cycle that is regular. It can manifest in a lot of like unconscious shame or guilt just being held because the energy is trapped, lack of creativity, all of these things. And it's like really uncomfortable. And it looks often like a bloating can be caused there because the energy can't flow. And so I was like, oh, this needs to just like, it was like twisted, right?
Mm.
And so different 3D manifestations can happen. Also, it can block a deeper flow of abundance because our sacrals are creative energy, money is energy. All of these things, it can block pleasure, it can block us being in bliss. Our creative channel is essentially like there's a kink in it. So anyways, we moved it back and you were like, whoa, because the energy then could flow. And whatever caused that energetic could be it could have been in your lineage. It could have just been, something that happened that had your body. My dog is legit being like, Mom, he's like eating my shoe. He just destroyed it. He is like, I need all of your attention right now. Opal,
So
I love
funny.
you. Want to come here? Okay.
Opal, I love you too. Yeah.
Like, I don't love you eating my beautiful shoes. Anyways, they're my runners too. Okay. Anyways, so that was, yeah, that. And it's so interesting because I don't talk about this often online. It's more like in more intimate containers. But like when I've done the shamanic breath work, which is when I redid that, often women that haven't had cycles release a lot of trauma and their cycles come back. Or this happens with Reiki attunement sometimes. And the core reason that we are, will literally any block in our life, relationship, intimacy, money, like we should always be expanding. We should always be deepening in relationships, expanding our levels of abundance, our capacity, and all of these things. And trauma is the core reason that we're stopped in any area. Bless you, Opal. Sneeze for the truth. When somebody sneezes, it's like a sign that there's truth, and he sneezed. So any area we're blocked is trauma. And trauma is also, for those of you who came to my Peace to Liberation event or saw it, I used to work with a lot of people with addictions, not just like substance addictions, all addictions. The root cause of that is also trauma. Mm-hmm. And so when you heal the trauma, those energetic blocks, so to speak, literally start to clear out of your field. And you're like, whoa, I'm legit a magnet to resources and money and friends and opportunities and clients, and everything just starts to come towards you. And you're like, what happened? Well, what happened was the body released the trauma, therefore the EMF field, aka the creator field, is now in its natural blueprint of abundance, of radiant health, of opportunity, and we stop being blocked on our soul path. So that's what went on in the shamanic breath work.
No, and it was so powerful and so beautiful. But also what you do in before your breath work is you sit and you talk and you have transmissions, and it's almost like you prepare our nervous system and our brain even for what's about to come. And I've been to so many different healers and breath work, which are amazing. But what I found with yours is that I surrendered, and everyone else as well surrendered instantly. Like it wasn't like we had to breathe for a long time to get to work up to the surrender. It was
Yeah.
like the transmission regulated our nervous system. We knew what was coming, and we were in full surrender as soon as it started. So
Yeah.
that's what I really, really love about your
Thank you.
shamanic breathwork.
Yeah, it's something, even when I've just done, like Reiki healing group ceremonies, people like will come in and start crying. They're like, what's going on? So it's part of that. I explain why. And I've done a lot of really deep work myself. So people can process really deep rage or grief or, shame or guilt or fear in my presence because I'm never going to judge it. And I can hold it. That's only because I've done my work. But another thing with that is the etheric realm. So as you know, I mean, I've trained in 13 types of healing, trauma healing, clinical, shamanic, all of these things. The shamanic realm is like the realms beyond the 3D. That's what it means, bridging the 3D and the 5D. And it's in my lineage and so forth. So when the space is protected from darker energies, when there's things, to like get rid of any dense energy or entity that had been stuck on somebody and gets cleared, there's certain things invoked in the space which are so important, and most people don't understand this, most people don't know this, and so that's a whole other. And personally, I recommend, if you're going to do like shamanic breath or like any type of really deep breath work, that they be trained in the etheric realms as well. It's really important, so that things, when as they're released, can not be chilling in the space. So this is another reason that people don't realize when they come to the breath works, or even like a source healing or Reiki healing, etc., that there's so many things in the space and so many layers of protection that I do before people even walk in, that they can feel, and their nervous system's like, oh, okay, it's safe, somebody's entity is not going to come off and attack me, which I've seen in other people's breath works. I've had students be like, I went to this breath work and I got attacked by, I'm like, yeah, because certain things aren't invoked in the space. And so that's another reason. So thank you for saying that. It's another reason that all of, that people have reflected, they felt really safe. I've done so much of my work, and I will always continue doing my work. I always have a teacher or mentor or a coach, or all three at the same time, so that I can do my processing, and I can also, get things reflected to me. I also do a lot of practices myself for processing things, because I need to be a clear channel when I facilitate.
Well, you're living it. Like, you're living what you're doing. And that's what I really admire and love about going to anything that you're doing. I've done lots of your stuff, but going to whatever it is.
Yeah. It's okay. Let's talk about this, because this is important for any healer, for any facilitator. Embodiment. So you're like, when you say you feel the abundance in my presence, whether it's here or, in 3D, like physically being in my presence, that's coding. So we have mirror neurons in our mind that start to mirror the people we're around. This is science, guys. I'm very science-based. And then we also have like energetic codes in our EMF field. So when you're around somebody, you will literally start to become those codes of abundance. There's an energy exchange always going on, whether it's in 3D or on the phone or all of these things. This was actually a struggle of mine for a long time, because I would pick up on so many people's energies. I didn't know how to protect mine and root to mine. And once I started to anchor to that, it was like, oh, okay, I can hold the energy of abundance. I can hold the energy of safety. I can hold the energy of love. I can hold the energy of joy, of pleasure, of expansion, and therefore stay grounded in that. And then people will get coded to that, because the person who's more rooted to their energy is the one who's going to code everybody else. So it was a journey for me to get rooted to certain things and not get pulled into other people's energies. And now that I've come to a certain level of mastery in that, when people come across me, whether it's, in ceremony, obviously it's more powerful, or an activation, people have tried to do my activations, like facilitate, and they're like saying what I'm saying. And they're like, it's not working. I'm like, yes, well, firstly, why you're stealing my activations, that's okay. I'm going to be teaching this in Oracle Wisdom Academy when we launch soon, a year-long program, so stay tuned all. But secondly, it's all the work behind the scenes, and it's the activation. I sent a voice memo to somebody earlier today, and she's like, I'm literally crying, like I'm getting goosebumps. And like, yes, because it's what I'm saying is a transmission, which causes a transformation. It's an activation, and what I speak on, I'm embodying it. There's certain things that I don't speak on because I'm not embodied in that. And so if I just read it from a book, I never teach anything I just read from a book. If I read it from a book, like manifestation, like people are like, where do you learn to manifest? I'm like, literally, because I had to manifest to have a place to sleep at night when I picked up and left Canada, and I had no choice. So I can teach, and as I speak on that, it causes activations in people. It causes a transformation, but this won't work with things that I'm not embodied in. So like, I don't know, I don't teach on law. I grew up in a family of lawyers, and they're very good at that. And my dad used to teach that. He's a judge now, so he doesn't teach it. But I can't teach on that, and I can't cause an activation on that. Even though I know a fair amount about it, I grew up around a lot of lawyers. I'm not embodied in that wisdom, right? So this is where like it's super important to be embodied in what you do, and this is what I teach all of like my students that study energy healing with me, is that the most important thing is your embodiment and you learning the soul lessons. And that's part of the initiation of you becoming a teacher. Unfortunately, some people don't like this because it's intense. Like my shamanic training was a bunch of initiations. More than anything, it was tools for sure, but initiations. And so that's where we become a master in our skills. That's where we become, literally, people will be in our presence and they'll have like downloads and insights. I mean, I have a mentor who sometimes I just go and I'm just like having all these downloads and I'm just talking. She's like sitting there holding space. I'm like, yeah, got what I needed. But it's that vortex of me receiving those codes from her, whether or not she's speaking. And then when she speaks, obviously it's a whole other level. But this is something that's so missing, I think, in today's society, this understanding of like, oh, just pick up a book and learn from it. And that's great. And I love reading and listening to audiobooks, but that is not where the transformation occurs. And this is why, you know, like people will come to ceremonies or a retreat and they have this massive transformation and they're like, I don't get it. I've been doing this work.
Hi, Lacey. Sorry.
Oh,
She's
hello.
just saying hi.
Mindset work, or you know, like I have a lot of people contacting me right now, and they're doing a lot of this, like prove to yourself why you are worthy. Well, we're innately worthy, but if you don't feel like you're literally the living embodiment of worthiness, that you, because you're a child of source, a child of God, a child of infinite intelligence, whatever you want to call it, if you don't feel that in your body because you have trauma, the deep shame that you haven't transmuted, and that shame is equivalent with the thought patterns of I'm not good enough, I'm bad, not I did something bad, I am bad, I'm not worthy. All of these thought patterns live in that energetic, in the sacral of shame. So to shift that, it needs to be transmuted from the body, because the body informs the mind. 85% of the work is the body. And so I've come across a lot of people recently, specifically, who are like, I'm doing all the things that they're telling me, I'm doing all the mindset work, and I'm like, okay, that's important, but that's secondary, because we got to move the energy through the body first. And that's where the miracles just start to happen, and the thought patterns automatically go to, of course I'm worthy, I'm literally a child of source, of course I have a soul mission, of course I'm supported in my soul mission. But until we feel that in our body and in our energy, then no matter what you're telling yourself or journaling about, again, that can be powerful, but not at the cost of the other stuff. The nervous system, trauma healing is so much more potent, because that's what will automatically shift your thoughts anyways. Okay, anyways, I just want a whole little transition.
That's okay. I love your rant.
Just listening. Arlene, it's so good to see you. The Jill talk. Okay, so sorry, I'm literally sweating. When I do activate or transmissions, I start sweating.
Yeah.
So, will you tell this story of how you manifested
Okay.
the money?
Yeah,
You
100%.
put a deposit down. You did our sisterhood event, the virtual event, when I was in Hawaii, and then you put a deposit down. and then I'll let you take it from here.
Okay.
Felt the soul pull. You're like, I feel the pull.
Yeah.
And
I
then
felt the soul pull for sure. And it's like I attended the sisterhood masterclass with Kristen and you, and that blew my mind. And then after that, I was like, oh my gosh, like I need what she has. Like, this is amazing. I just wanted to be around your energy. I was just like, this is my person. She's so amazing. So I felt the pull when I saw your retreat, and I was like, I really want to go to this. I just finished yoga teacher training for a couple months, so I hadn't been working. I was flat broke. I had no money, so I'm going back to work. And I was working at a bar, and I'm like, what am I getting? And for the whole week, I'm like, you told me that I have to go all the way in or not do it, right? So here I am with one foot in. I'm not going to be able to do it.
Oh, yes.
Sorry.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Continue. There's
Okay, I had one foot in. I'm not going to be able to do it. And then I had one foot in. I'm doing this. I'm doing this. And you told me to make the decision to do it.
You messaged me, I think, and you're like, I don't know if I can do. I felt your energy. I might have messaged you, and you told me, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. I don't have the rest of the money.
Yeah.
And I said to you, I said, Tally, do you want to do this? Do you feel the call? And you said yes, like
100%.
And I said, okay, I'm going to hold the vision with you and for you, but you got to make the choice. And I think I shared some universal laws, which for all coming Thursday. It's a free activation, Tally. I don't know if you signed up yet, but
I'm going.
Yay!
I'm there.
Yes.
So I was like, 100%. I'm like, Jill, I'm doing this. I'm going. I don't know how it's going to happen. I don't have the money. I'm doing this. I'm going. But then as I'm at work, I still was like, oh, I'm not making enough money. I might not be able to go. And I'm like sabotaging myself a little bit. And then I'm like, no, I'm going. So I had like two versions of me saying two different things. And then my last night of work, I was just like, fuck it, I'm going. I don't care how it happens. I know I'm going. And I just kind of let go of all the negative talk and everything. And then I had a customer come in and tip me $5,000 specifically to go to this event. And I was just so floored. And then I was like, of course it's going to happen as soon as I get out of my own way and stop fighting myself and just trust.
Yes.
Right?
This is it. We always have the resources for us, especially if it's for our soul growth. That's when the miracles happen, but it's only after the choice. So the moment you made the choice, like you were between it and you're like, I'm going cognitively, but I don't know, subconscious is like, and then you're like, I'm going.
Yeah.
And that's when it happened. And this has happened to, I've seen this time and time again. I legit saw this the other day. I told her a story. I was like, look, when I went to Grace in Cyprus, I didn't have the funds, and I literally manifested them in 72 hours after I made the choice, and I was bawling my eyes out. But people think that was like only the one time. And I'm like, no, I still do this always. Like there's times where, like I said, I don't have the liquid. Y'all got to hear this. When you look at my life and you're like, how does she like manifest, or it's like so easy. Like, no, it's not easy. It's that choice. After I make the choice, it's easy. But that's where the miracles happen. I mean, I've had people sponsor me for events. I'm like, I really want to do this. This is going to help my mission. That's another thing. It has to be in kind of soul alignment for the greatest good of all involved. But your growth is the biggest key to it being for the greatest good of all involved. And I've had acting checks just appear from 2.5 years prior. I don't act anymore. But like, that's why I played for Greece and Cyprus and that retreat and that training. I have had like things come through my business all of a sudden after I made a choice of a certain mentor. All of a sudden I had private clients who, I don't know where they came from, somehow like knew I did womb work, even though I don't even talk about it. She wanted womb work. They're like, I need to work with you. Like, so it is, and this is another thing. Sometimes we think it has to come through this one thing. I could be like, it has to come through my business. But like I said, I've had people sponsor me in the past for events. I had my customers at a restaurant years ago literally pay for me to go to a retreat. I barely knew these people. It was literally like divine intervention. And so I think we are so, I mean, we're limited because of like the school system and all of these things that make us think like, okay, the only resources I have are like what I look at the bank account. But I can tell you almost every single time that it's a really big life shift for me. And then I'm like, there's a path here, there's a retreat or a mentor or a training, and I feel the pull almost every single time. And I swear it's my higher self testing me of how devoted to this path I am. It's like I don't have the resources. I just made a really big investment, or maybe a launch failed, or I don't know, like whatever it is. And I'm like, no, I'm going. I don't care what it looks like on paper. And it's the moment I make that choice that it's like clients find me, or, you know, I'm gifted abundance in some way, shape, or form. I'm gifted a place to stay at the immersion I'm going to go to, like whatever it is. These are all real stories, but it's not that. And just like the first class ticket to Egypt, we hadn't booked first class tickets. That was like a $10,000 upgrade. People would be like, they don't do these upgrades for international flights. They literally have a policy where they don't do them, but somehow I manifested it. But it's through these initiations time and time again, and that's the level of devotion that we need if we actually want to devote to this path. And so I used to be under the impression that I'm like, oh, I got to save everybody, and I'm like, I'm not allowing them to go through that initiation to see how powerful they are. And now it's like, I'm happy to give some wisdom to help them make that investment, that choice, as I did for you. And it's like, that's truly where the deep empowerment happens. And that's where it's for them. And I'm curious if this happened to you. You're like, whoa, I am so powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's also like reminding myself of other times. It's like all those times you have to remind yourself. I worked at as a massage therapist at a yoga studio, and I had a customer tip me $20,000 to go to another event in the UK, but not just for me, but for my sister to go as well. And that's another time that I was like, I'm going. And I have to remind myself of these times, like, I'm going. And I'm going. And then I'm not just going, now my sister's coming. So it even gets better than what you can even think, right?
Yes.
As soon as you put your whole trust in the fact that this is what I'm doing. And then you're not putting so much belief in and every energy into money, because, you know.
I'm celebrating this so much. Was this recent?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, that was a while ago.
Okay, well,
yeah.
Still, I'm celebrating this.
That's a pretty big win.
That's like a college education.
It's funny how our brains work, though, because that was before I went to your retreat, right? And this has happened to me before, where I had no money and I was gifted money, not just for me, but for my sister. And it was amazing. But then my brain still says, I don't have enough money. I don't have enough money. And it's like, no, trust. Go back to the trust.
Make the choice and trust, and open to all pathways. I had a dear sister, she's coming this year, and she's like, okay, I'm coming and blah, blah, blah. I got a intuitive yes to come, and I got a no to pass, and like the resources. And so she's like, like I have the money for the deposit, but if this thing comes through, then I'm just going to pay you in full. And I'm like, great, I'll hold that vision with you and for you. And the money is coming regardless. It's just a matter of time for like that specific thing. But I said, let's just open this up to any possibility. Like, why cap it just from that thing? Like, and let's call in some surplus, like more than the retreat, duh. And so literally she was like, Jill, what is this sorcery? I got gifted the exact amount of the deposit the next day. So I don't even need to use the amount that I had like set aside. And I'm like, yes, this is it. This is where the magic occurs, but we have to make that choice. Most people are like you said, the 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Ivory, hi babe. When we're 1 foot in, 1 foot out, it never works. We have to be like, I am doing this. This is the choice. That's one thing I've learned time and time again. It's like that level of devotion, and it's devotion to self, because there's a universal law that if we're devoted to ourselves, then the universe has to be devoted to us. Other people have to be devoted to us.
Like,
and
we cannot fail.
Pardon?
We cannot fail.
We can't.
No.
Exactly.
It's impossible.
And most people
to fail.
100%. most people are programmed, including myself. Hi, I'm Jill. Was programmed this way too. Grew up in the same world. Had to do a lot of work around this. That I'm not worthy. So investing in me is not worthy, and it's all backwards. The moment, every time I make an investment in myself, my classes, a freaking water machine. I just joined a health mastermind that was like an extravagant amount of money, and I'm like, then it was like people messaging me about private client, like private sessions, and I'm just like, what is this sorcery? But it's literally universal law. When we devote to us, everyone around us has to start devoting to us. The universe has to devote to us because we are. But there's a catch here. So if you're working with the light, which y'all here listening to this are, this doesn't work if you're using dark forces or whatever, not available for that. But if you're working with the light, meaning source energy, soul mission, it's it these laws work when we are, it's doing it for like our soul mission and a cause that is for the highest of all involved. That could still mean money coming in for like a massage or acupuncture, all of these things that is going to, it was a big learning lesson for me to like make sure I am taking care of my body, is because I would just give, and then be so depleted and then in bed for 3 days. And now it's like, okay, I also need more cup poured into. And so like whatever it is, as long as it's for the highest good of all involved, and it's going to help you on your mission. And what is your mission? Well, it's directly correlated with your traumas. I could speak on this forever, which is part of the work we're doing at the retreat this year of like, how do your alchemizing your traumas come into soul sovereignty? What do you actually want on a soul level? And how is what you've gone through directly correlated to that and the soul path? But sorry, I just lost my train of thought of the point of what I was just saying. So this happens if y'all guys
Connected to your traumas.
I'm like,
connected to your soul path is connected to your traumas.
Yeah, so the soul path is always connected to the trauma. So when it was devotion to self. So when we, I don't know, but anyways, here is what I'm going to say here. When we devote to that path, and when we devote to being the best version of ourselves to fulfill that path, it doesn't matter if it's health or like a water machine. I literally like how the funds came in for my $5,000 water machine were like bonkers. This was a few years ago. But when we start to invest in ourselves, the universe starts to mirror that. People in our life starts to mirror that. And we're so programmed that investing in ourselves is bad. We're greedy, we're whatever. And I have a completely different view on this, but it took me a while to realize, okay, firstly, this drum was $500. I manifested this Leela Quantum, maybe I'll take from this, a $3,000 frequency machine. I literally manifested that out of thousands.
I love it.
It was like right before Sedona, actually, where we met for the first time. And like, healing tools, or like, I wouldn't nourish myself and I kept getting depleted. And then when I made that choice that like, no, when I'm at my best, everybody's at their best, then it was like resources started to come in alignment with my soul mission. But I'm not talking about like ego stuff when I say this, guys. We can have nice things. I love quality over quantity always for everything, but I'm not talking about, oh, I'm going to manifest this $20,000 purse because it's going to make me feel better than other people. That's not what I'm talking about. The resources aren't readily going to drop from source once you make those decisions. It's a bit of a different energetic. If you want that purse, great. There's other ways that you can, set aside money for that. But when I talk about the miracles of like source provision, what I mean is it has to be in alignment with your soul. And then I know what I was going to say now before. I said, we limit where it can come from when source is the source. So it can come through a literal stranger. It can come through a customer tipping you $20,000, like vibes. It can come through an inheritance. It can come through an investment. It can come through all of these other things. I had a friend who she was so afraid to quit her job. It was a toxic job. And finally she took 2 weeks off and she's like, made the choice. I'm quitting this. I am choosing me. This is literal abuse. It was. And she made an investment during that time. The investment like skyrocketed. And she's like, I think this is like, she's not into this stuff, like energy. And I'm like, yeah, it is energy because you chose you. Therefore, source provided for you, the resources, literally more than you would have made at that job. And now she has another like kick-ass job.
And of course can provide through other people as well. Like
Yes.
I recently made some changes in my life, and then my boyfriend gets a raise, you know, like things
Yes.
like that happen around.
Yes.
It's so beautiful.
Oh my God.
Right?
The amount of, all you women need to hear this, and men too, but more, I feel like it happens with women more so. When we, I mean, that feminine essence for a man, A, like drives them, but B, there was a woman, she came on my podcast, I won't say her name, I think she said on the podcast, but anyway, she took Decode Manifestation, same thing, right after she joined, it was like the second week, her partner got a $5,000 bonus and a raise. And like, we can manifest through our partners, or we can manifest, like, it can come in any way. So like, don't limit the way, but the choice is the most important. Okay, so let's get into, if you want to share, like, what was your favorite part about the retreat? Did you have any hesitations? And how did your life shift after?
Okay, well, my favorite part of the retreat would be the shamanic breath work. Like, hands down, that's always my favorite stuff with you. Like, it's just, I instantly just am in full surrender.
Yeah.
And my body just heals itself. Like, I move and shift in ways that I've never done before. It's so beautiful. And the place itself is amazing, and all the amenities at the place is so, it's such a beautiful sacred land. And there's infrared and a cold plunge, and there's also the ocean right there. So if you want to jump in the ocean, it's so beautiful and so fun. The food was so high frequency. Like, the food was amazing. I loved it.
So always chefs that are like healers or pure intent. It's one of the biggest keys.
And like every bite of everything was like, you really were present when you're eating too, right?
Yeah.
Like, I was just present the whole time I was there. Like, every bite I could really feel all the flavors of everything, because it was just, because you're just so present, right?
Yeah.
And I what else did I write down here? I just love the idea of the sisterhood. Like, I really, when I'm in your presence and when we're together and everyone around us, it's so much love. Like, there's no jealousy or envy. Like, that vibration doesn't exist. It's we're all supporting, loving one another. And you can just bring whatever version is coming up for healing into that space, and you're loved. So if I had lots of anxiety and I came in, I remember coming into one of the things that we were doing with some anxiety coming up, and I was just fully accepted just as I was.
Yeah.
And you know, like, the acceptance and the love of the sisterhood. I think you and I should do something in the summer.
I gotta go visit Tally. Like, check out her boat. Hopefully Opal's welcome. He's a service dog.
Oh my gosh. Opal's always welcome.
Okay, good. But I would love to come down there and do something with you.
Did we freeze? Am I frozen?
Sorry, my phone is at 20%.
Oh, okay.
So here we are. Sorry about that. I said I would love to come down this summer. Let's chat about that, and we'll collab on something.
We totally should.
So, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, it's so important. I'm so stickler about the energy of this space, like who comes in and like what I'm available for, even if people might have like been catty in their own life or whatever, like it can't exist in this space. It's like an energetic boundary that I set. I do grids around, like, when I call in people for retreats or programs, because it's so important to have that place of non-judgment, because the deepest healing happens when thanks for the love. We love you.
We love you.
The deepest healing happens when you can be witnessed in your sadness, in your grief, in your anxiety, in your fear, and the space be held from a place of unconditional love. That is where the deepest healing happens. And this is why I'm so stickler about that. because I've been in situations, you know, retreats in the past that I've gone to where that didn't exist, and it's more traumatizing. And
Because
it's so,
then you feel embarrassed for the version of you that's coming up, but it's coming up to be healed, but then you want to shove it back down because of the reaction of people, right?
100%.
Yeah.
And more, there's more shame.
Yeah.
It's like, oh,
Even
I
more
guess
shame
I
about
did
it.
not welcome this piece of me. And then it creates a piece of the shadow that now we're hiding away. And this cycle, shame is one of the lowest frequencies that keeps people unconsciously attracting things in their life and even doing things in their life that will cause, that are in the frequency of shame.
Hi, Kaylee.
Hi, Kaylee. Oh my God, I'm loving all the love that's coming on here. I didn't even announce this, and I was like, holy Toledo, I should have like done a story that we're doing a live. But anyways, people will watch it on the replay.
Yeah,
And
I know. I should have said something too, and then like 4 hours before, I was like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't put anything out." I should let people know.
It's been back to back, and so it slipped my. I knew we were doing it, but I was like, it slipped my mind to just like mark it that we're doing it. Anyways, it'll be saved so people can watch it. We're gonna pop it on the podcast. Okay, so what was the biggest shift like after the retreat that was actually integrated into your life? Because this is one piece that is super important, of like the shifts that occur after from the integration. Because I mean, I've seen you like start a whole new business, and like every time you're like just glowing every time I see you. Also those frequency fences being cleared where
Yeah.
like,
Okay. We don't need to get into that, but
we won't get into it. But yes,
But
discernment on which events people go to. We'll keep it at.
hey, you know what? Without that I would have never met you, and
I would have never met.
Now we're in
I
love.
learned so much from being in that vortex.
Oh,
and
so much.
whoa, like for those of you who haven't heard my podcast, if you want to hear my story and not done it, there's the juice parts coming. But I will say, like going through, I have so much gratitude for that process. Like I wouldn't have met you. I won't name other names on here, but there's a few other people that I also like became really close with after that. That, you know, like I'm so, as hard as that year was, and I was so confused because I didn't know what was going on until I figured it out and cleared a bunch of stuff. I've been able to help so many people that were also trapped in it, that were ready to be helped. And then B, it like it was such a crucial part of my journey, and I met some of my dearest sisters through it, including you. And so yeah, I'm so grateful.
Yeah, I feel the exact same way about the whole situation. But what were we talking about before?
Okay, we were talking about I'm just going to put something in here right now for those of you here live. So if you are interested in the retreat, the link is in my bio. It's on an early bird flash sale. Early bird like actually ended, but the reason is because the doors close. It's not till May, but the doors close on Monday night at 9 p.m. PST because the center changed their policies. And so last year I had 6 people join last minute. They were chill about like, they only needed 2 weeks notice of like how many people were coming. But some stuff happened, unfortunately, which is so sad because that place is so sacred. So they've like tightened up on the policy. So now it's 2 months notice. So they gave me a few extra days leeway on this because I tried it with them today. The doors were going to close on the 28th, but they gave me till Monday night. So everything's getting locked down. So if you are interested, come to Thursday so you can experience a little bit of like the abundance activation.
Gosh, and the abundance activations are so powerful and so amazing. I know that this retreat is more about sisterhood, but like you bring abundance into everything you do.
We're doing abundance activations, obviously. It's just like it's only women because I want it was a divine download. It is about sisterhood, but we're doing all this stuff, and we're doing more stuff, and we're doing some juicy feminine stuff, and we're doing like shame to like rapture exercises, which we didn't do last year, which are so powerful. And we're gonna do a little bit of like energetic womb work as well. Don't worry, we're not like, it's nothing like too, all I'll say is energetic, but it's still very, very powerful. And I do want to teach women a little bit about, the gateways of that, and like the soul's potential is held in the ovaries and these things, and going to activate those. And so, yeah, we're not doing any like weird, funky stuff if you're like concerned about that, but it's going to be really powerful. So we are doing all of the activations, and it's going to be different than last year for sure. I'm also, to be completely frank, for those of you who haven't heard my story, my energy at the retreat last year was getting siphoned um, by a teacher that I had through somebody else. So I was like energetically weak compared to what I am now, and it was still so fucking powerful.
And it was
so
still so great.
yeah, it was like, so the channel of energy that I have now, because I've called all that energy back and those soul fragments back, I didn't realize it was happening. I felt very depleted. Obviously, I hadn't figured out what was going on fully yet, which came shortly after unraveling a lot. But the activations are gonna just be next level. Like even clients who are like private clients who have been through that, they're like, your energy is so much more powerful now for activations and healings. And of course it is, it's not getting siphoned anymore. So, but of course we're doing the activations. That's like my signature thing. That's
Yeah.
how can we not?
Yeah, no,
Anyway,
okay. Of course you do.
So,
And I think one of the main things that I held is your level of confidence. And like I left feeling that level of confidence, and I continue like this time last year, if you asked me to do a live, I would have ran the other way. I would have been like, absolutely not. But you hold this level of, you have to meet me here. So I couldn't even bring all those little insecurities with me to saying, it was like an instant, yes, I'll do the live with you.
yeah.
And it's going to be fun. It's going to be me. It's going to be you. And if anyone else wants to join, cool. Like it's just, you bring a level of fun with you and a level of confidence. Like, we're just going to do this and it's going to be awesome. And we're not going to think about anything else,
Yeah.
And
Thank you.
yeah.
Sorry, I keep interrupting.
No,
I just want to say,
go.
have seen you so deeply step into your confidence, and your aura has just like expanded. Not that it was beautiful before, but it's just like expanded to a whole new level. And like you said earlier, you're like, Jill has that thing and I want that thing, or whatever the verbiage was. So you can't see, for those of you who are watching, what you don't have within. So I ignited what you already had within. You saw it and you're like, yes. And so when you stepped into that, when you like, when we'll say you're in my presence, it activated. And then you take that with you in your life and you activate other people. And now you're like teaching classes and you're activating other people, because that was always within you. It's just when we're in the presence of somebody who's activated a specific thing within themselves from their own work, then they can activate us. So like, you always had that within you. It was just, it went from being more dormant, like the confidence thing usually comes from unconscious trauma, which we all have. People thought I was a mute for a while. I'm not even kidding. In elementary, they're like, can Jill speak? Because I was so insecure. And then even, oh God, just for a lot of my life until I started like doing this deeper work. And then now it's just come to a place where, I don't know, people love me or hate me because I trigger the shadow and I trigger the highest potential. And I just am like, okay, I know who I am. I know my intention. And so those who come into my field and my world, like, I'm like, okay, these are the people that I'm meant to serve and play with, because healing can be fun.
It can be fun. It is so fun. Honestly, I have so much fun with you. Every time I show up to anything that you're doing, I'm happy and I have a blast and I feel great afterwards.
That just makes me so happy because it doesn't need to be, yeah, we can process heavy emotions, but we can do it through alchemy, meaning that shame literally turns into rapture or bliss or expansion. That fear literally turns into love, or the grief turns into love. The fear turns into expansion. I don't know, whatever emotion you want to turn it into.
Yeah.
That's alchemy. So thank you for saying that, because it's one of the biggest things that, like, I try to bring fun. I try to bring more lightness to certain things, but that doesn't discount the deeper work.
Oh,
because it's
100%.
they go hand in hand, right? How do you get deeper? You can bring lightness and ease to it, and then go deep, and then you weave the shadow, you weave the fear, you weave the shame into the light, into these higher frequency emotions, and then all of a sudden the shadow, like the fear or the shame or the guilt or whatever that was, is now literally turned into the light, the higher frequency emotions, the love, the expansion, the bliss, the joy, the whatever. But it's important, I think, to kind of not just, now we're doing healing, like that's so fucking crazy. Or like, just love and light and so ungrounded. No, you need both. You need to be grounded so you can hold the deeper density of emotion for somebody to transmute it, and then also bring that play and that joy, because like nobody wants to just be in a cycle of healing, aka that's not actually transmutation. That's, people can get stuck in certain cycles of healing where it's they're not actually transmuting the emotion, they are just like feeling it but not transmuting it. But when you transmute it, it brings that expansion. And then, you know, there's always a deeper layer where we can go deeper into expansion. Eventually, it's just like a lot of, okay, let's create from this energy now. Sorry, I just went on a whole other transmission. I keep interrupting you. Apologies. I'm just very excited.
No,
I'm like,
great.
yes.
It's flowing. It's flowing. We're good.
What is, if you want to share the biggest shift of like, so you're showing up so much in your life with confidence, and I see it and I see what you're creating. Like, what have you created? I can say this for you, but I'm not gonna say it. What have you created that maybe you didn't think was possible, or you stepped into like a new business, or I'm trying to say this without like
I think stepping into a new job, it was, you know, like, and I didn't really think that my job was holding me down as much as it was, because I enjoyed parts of it.
yeah.
And then when I stepped into something different, I was like, whoa, oh my gosh, like I didn't realize. Yeah.
And I think it's like the energy around us, right? So like it's hard, and sometimes when we love so much, but then like doing something so much, but then it's like, okay, but I'll take, like, when I worked in restaurants, like I loved that, but there was so much toxic energy around me. And so
Right?
I come home feeling like I don't know, like a vampire, not a vampire, like a corpse. That's the word.
And like, you
And
have
so I'm
to
like, I love
recharge
that.
for days
Yeah.
after. And I'm like, that's not normal. Wait a minute.
Exactly. And so, yeah, it's just, I mean, the environment's everything. And I just feel like you had some like catty energies around you that were like pulling you down and didn't want to see you shine. And that's like completely shifted. And then one of my last questions for you today is that, I just lost it. Give me a second. I don't have a sip of water.
Oh, I can have a sip of water too.
Did it shift your, like, did it deepen your relationship?
Oh my gosh, so much. I'm like more in love now than ever. Like, and you really talked about leaky energy. And I started to pay more, like once you're aware of it, someone brings it to your attention. I started to pay more attention to where I might have had leaky energy and where I'm not fully devoted to my partner because I'm leaking it over here and letting it over here and letting it over here. And now I'm just like so in love, in such a solid place with my partner. And it makes me more in a solid place with myself when I'm
Yeah.
in a solid place with him. So, oh my gosh, like so much.
Okay, I am so excited. I haven't met your partner yet, but I have seen photos. Like I saw some before, and then I've seen them after, and like it radiates off. Like I'm like, I look at your guys' photos, and I'm like, they're in a true divine union. And this is something that I've gotten shot in the foot a lot of times for illuminating like leaky energy. And it's not from a place of judgment because I had leaky AF energy, and I've told this story many times. And so it actually comes from a place. It comes from a place of trauma.
Yeah.
And I feel like every woman has gone through this. And what actually happens is like, it's kind of like, oh, we're keeping, like we're in love with a partner, say, but then we're keeping our options open due to fear because of something that happened in the past that's not actually going on. And so what happens to the man in that energetic is he doesn't feel devoted. He can feel it. He doesn't feel devoted to. He doesn't feel like fully worthy. And so then he doesn't devote maybe fully, or he has this hidden resentment, and what it just creates this like almost emotional and energetic and physical as well, like in intimacy of like, oh, I'm not like, I don't want to say fully in, but he doesn't feel fully safe. Now when we're like, oh, we're coming into this actually fully devoted, and actually I have my sovereign authority, and I'm in touch with this feminine energy, that, and we realize how sacred it is. We put 10 toes in, and then they put 10 toes in. This is not going to work with a man who has his own work to do, who's deeply traumatized, because they won't ever put 10 toes in until they've done that work. But when there's a man who is, you know, and I'm not saying they have to go to retreats or men's work is very powerful though, but when we show up in that energy, it can deeply inspire them, and then they'll put 10 toes in, and that creates this pillar of light that is the most powerful. This is why there's such an attack on divine union, the most powerful energy ever. And now we can cultivate and share that energy with them. And it like literally, if you look at like the most successful men in the world, they always have a very strong feminine who has that contained energy, is in touch with it, but she's circulating it with him. And so Napoleon Hill talks about this in Think and Grow Rich, but he also talks about in this book that I just listened to 4 times because of my program Data. I got called to listen to it, and it was divine timing. And then I listened to it 4 times because I don't know, I'm an extremist over here. For Capricorn, 5 houses in Capricorn.
Dude, I've read books 7 times before. I get it.
5 on that. It's called Outwitting the Devil. And it's so good. A client gave this book to me 3 years ago, and I didn't listen to it. I didn't read it. Don't know where it went. Got a divine guidance to listen to it on audiobooks. And wow, and he talks about this. And so divine union is one of the most powerful things. And we can work with this energy whether we're single or whether we're in relationship. And it's not like it's bad to leak your energy. It's just not productive. And so when we start to devote fully to that, it like, I mean, relationships just like blast off. And men, I've talked to like a lot of, like I interviewed men last year. What is the one quality that the biggest turnoff in a woman? And every single one of them said promiscuity was the biggest turnoff. And they don't feel safe, they said. They feel like they can't trust the woman and all of these things. And it's all unconscious. And so when we are very intentional with that energy, it's way more potent. It deepens the intimacy, the emotional intimacy, the physical intimacy. It really empowers the masculine. It makes us feel safe as well, because then they're like in devotion to the feminine. And it is just like, phew. So I actually didn't know the details, but I could see it from your photos. Like I see you two and I'm like, this is so beautiful. Carrie, hello, beautiful. I'm excited for you to move back to Vancouver. So that energy is like, it's palpable. You can feel it. I mean, I don't know if this is like something you're interested in, but I could see you / I just saw a pathway.
You always see my path.
Yeah.
You say things and then they happen. I'm like, oh my gosh.
People are like how did you know that was, I'm like, well, I can, it's written in your soul contracts. It's your soul path. But the thing is, we have to show up for it. So anyways, this one thing I do is I read Creator Fields and I read soul paths and I can read energetic blockages, etc. Anyways, something to sit on if it feels in alignment is to eventually maybe teach about sacred union, or to even do something with him and teach. I don't know if he's open to that.
Yeah, we've been talking about it already.
Okay,
Yeah.
girl, it is
Totally.
time, because I literally, like, your higher self was like speaking to my higher self, and I kept getting the ping about like telling me. So I'm glad it is in the works.
No, I just love you. And
you.
also the thing about leaky energy is pulling it back to myself. I had so much more energy for myself than letting it fly all over the place. But that comes from trauma, needing approval or needing attention or whatever, wherever it was leaking out for whatever reason. It just comes from fear and trauma. And then as you heal that, you just pull it all back in and be like, oh my gosh, I need that for me. And I need that for my partner, so we can grow and we can build each other instead of letting it go anywhere else, you know, float around anywhere else.
I'm so glad you said that, because I mean, where we met, there was a lot of women with a very specific imprint, and I had it. And this is where, when we don't, okay, so if you guys are all single, you take this or leave it, but for any women here, circle that energy back to you, okay, is what I recommend. Then you're gonna legit become a magnet to the divine masculine, and you can choose who to share it with, versus needing this validation due to a wound. If you got this wound, come to my retreat, we'll heal it. Of, oh, I don't feel worthy, so I want attention from all these men, or even just a few men. And it was like, this is one of the traps of, like, in that vortex, when I got caught in it, and I didn't see this till after. It's like very vulnerable of me sharing this, but like, even in that relationship that I was in, he was best friends with this kind of like teacher mentor we had that turns out did not have a pure intent, and he was siphoning a lot of women's energy. Sorry, my phone's 10%, so we'll wrap this up in a moment. But what I realized for myself was, whoa, even that past mentor, I don't even call him a mentor anymore, but I don't know what else to call him. We'll call him Jay. He validated me in certain ways. And that's what actually drew me there. But it was all a trap. It wasn't authentic. And as soon as I started seeing, oh, this is distortion, I started calling him out on it. Bad idea, but also good idea. Anyways, did not like that in Egypt. Definitely put some, there was some stuff. And then he created all this stuff in my relationship at the time. And anyways, it was all for the highest in retrospect. But it was that wound of like, I needed validation from him because I didn't feel it in myself. Just like my acting career, I love storytelling. I still teach through storytelling, but I wanted to be an actor. I thought from storytelling that there was a deeper wound. I mean, I still love acting, but I left the industry because it was toxic, and it was like this deeper wound of me wanting validation from other people. The problem is that will never work. We can never look for validation in a relationship, or from money, or even from like clients or anything, because that will literally say we're looking for that from a client, well, it's all of a sudden we're not going to be able to do our job as well as we can. Or from a partner's going to feel that, and they're going to pull away. Dania, babe, oh my god, I'm so excited to see you too when you move back here. All the love here. So when we look for it exteriorly, there is something missing inside, and this is where energy gets massively siphoned. And so if we can pull that energy back and then go heal the core wound, we'll be doing that in my retreat. Heal the manifest. It's called soul manifestation, but we're healing to manifest. And then to come to soul sovereignty, soul clarity. What do you actually want? Not what you think you want, and what will be fulfilling, and then aligning to soul manifestation. But when we circle that energy back to ourselves, all of a sudden, it's like we have our vitality back. I have a course on this too, where I teach people how to call their energy back. And it's when it's cleansing it and clearing it on all of these things, because it's very common for things to siphon our energy, whether it's social media or whether it's, like just so many things, but yeah, I don't know, I wasn't going to talk about this, but I feel there's women here that need to hear that if you are being called into, it is rampant in the spiritual community. I'm sorry, there are so many predators out there siphoning energy and doing some shady stuff. If you are feeling like, oh, I need validation from this like male mentor or facilitator or female, whatever, then there is a deeper wound there that I highly recommend you look at and heal, because eventually you won't need that validation, and that's where your empowerment is, and that's where like you can start saying no to certain things that are not in alignment, soul sovereignty, and yes to things that are in full alignment. And you're not going to get allured and drawn, and literally it feels like you're like, oh, I need to go to this thing. Trust me, I invested 50 grand in that vortex.
I probably more.
Literally, like, because it was like, oh my god, I like need to go to this retreat, otherwise this person's gonna leave me, who, like, I mean, we had a powerful soul contract, but he taught me a lot, we'll say that. But in terms of like mirroring to myself, I know vice versa, and also to get him out of that vortex. But anyways, beside the point. Yeah, there's deeper wounds when we're drawn to things that are just for validation, and those can be part of our soul path to show us that wound, but we can also skip a lot of that if we actually just heal the wound, and we don't have to keep going to these things of like, you know, that we're looking for validation, because we find that within, we find that with self, and we find that with source, and then literally we're serving the divine, and we don't need it from anybody else. And ironically, when we do this, everyone starts to validate us. It's bonkers.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't need validation, and everyone's like validating you, but you don't need it, and you're like cherry on top, cool.
Yeah.
This is working. Yeah. This works for partners too. It's like, oh, we don't need validation from them, or we don't need like a gift from them or whatever to feel worthy. And all of a sudden it's like, they're just like buying flowers or doing this or that. And we're like, what is this magic?
Yeah. It's magic.
Literally. Okay. So I'm going to honor your time.
Okay.
And also my phone is about to die.
Yeah.
First, I want to say, before we close up, thank you so much, Tally. I really appreciate your time coming on here and sharing your experience, your journey. I just love you so much as a dear sister. I love seeing you thrive. I love seeing all the magic you're doing for the world, like your yoga classes and your healing classes, and just like, and like all the stuff with the boat. Oh, we should do an event
on the boat. Should we?
If you're
Let's
down, I just like
do it. Let's
do an event
totally.
on the boat. I'd be down in the summer, yeah, for sure. We'll definitely do something together, so we'll be in touch about that. But yeah, is there any last words that you want to share for anybody who might be like, I want to come to the retreat, but I'm hesitant, or I don't feel like I have the resources, or like, is this a scam, or is it like some other stuff I went to where I just like journaled and nothing worked? And any last words on that?
Last words,
yeah,
it would be just trust. Like, if you feel the pull, like for me, I felt the pull in my heart, like I needed to go to this. Like, I know that I have to go to this. So trust that, and then say, I'm going. So trust the pull, and then just say, I'm going. And allow your higher mind to do the work. Don't try to figure out how it's going to happen, because it can be even better than you imagine. Yeah. Like, it can be you and your sister if you if you fully put in the trust, you know? So if it's the pull, trust the pull, and then let your higher self figure out how the money's going to come to you, or how it's going to happen, because it could be even better than you ever thought if you're in full surrender and full trust.
100%. And that's where like the first experience of the magic exists. Like when people sign up for things, like I code certain, like any vortex, but so when they sign up, the magic already starts, or when they make that choice. And so it's kind of like experiencing a taste of the magic like you did before the actual event. So like, I think it's even more fun to, like, if you think you don't have the resources, and maybe you look at your bank and you like don't have them right there, and like I said, it's on early bird anyways, like you're welcome, flash sale, y'all. um but it's like, how can I create alchemy, something from nothing? This is legit how I learned to manifest. Like I said, I had no choice. I'm like, and it wasn't just me that needed places to stay when I was traveling, and I had briefly got disowned from my family. Me and my fam jam are vibes now. We're like homies. But it was me and Opal, and I not only had to take care of me, I'm like, I can't just sleep on like the beach of Miami or Costa Rica, because I got my pup who's like, Mommy, I need your attention, please. I had my pup. So it was like, okay, like, we got to figure this out, Opal. We got to figure this out. And we did.
Good job, Opal.
You too. He's amazing, and he's getting a haircut tomorrow because his hair is so long. I'll do more videos of Opal. So yeah, thank you so much. I will end this because I don't want to lose it, and if my phone dies, then we will lose it.
Okay.
I'll message you after again. Well, I might message you tomorrow morning, Tally, if I don't message you tonight. I appreciate you so much, and keep thriving, and yeah, we'll be in touch. And stay tuned for our potential boat.
Yeah. It's gonna be so fun.
Okay.
Love everyone. Thank you everyone for watching and joining, and I hope it helps anyone in whatever they're going through. And I love you and bless you, and I'll talk to you later. Okay,
Blessing all of you.
bye.
Bless you. Oh, hearts just appeared. Super cool. Okay, bye, my love.
Bye.